Thank you. I'm Ray Hymel, representing the Texas Public Employees Association, often known as TPEA, the oldest of the state employee and retiree organizations. And to put in, you've heard a lot about the manpower needs, the workforce needs of Health and Human Services Commission, but I want to speak to first the Inspector General's office, because their role, when you're talking about an agency that contemplates maybe needing $93 billion in appropriations, there is the opportunity for a massive amount of fraud. And so what they're doing is critical to catching some of that fraud, and also, as importantly, deterring it. So to the degree to which you can buttress that agency and the work that they do by giving them the requested pay increases to their key staff, then I think, and their systems, you are saving the taxpayers. You are saving the taxpayers potentially hundreds of millions of dollars. And I think that that's something to consider when you look at the Inspector General's request in particular. Now, moving on to the Health and Human Services Commission, which is doing the work of providing services to folks in the most critical areas and the most urgent needs that we can imagine and that you keep hearing about. There are some specialized and very dedicated staff who are uniquely qualified to do that kind of work, but they're losing them. They're losing over a fourth of their workforce due to turnover, according to the latest state auditor's report. And it's predictable, because in the context of not only the inflation we're seeing this year, the costs of gas and groceries, the cost of commuting to the Capitol, which you're all familiar with yourselves, there is the reality that there's been a 27% increase in inflation since the last really significant pay raise given to state employees. And that was September of 2014. So predictably, turnover is already high, will increase, and this is an area where you desperately need to keep and attract. So we're talking about retention and attraction of the types of employees who will be dedicated to providing these urgently needed services. So I urge you, as you make your recommendations, and I know you're going to be conferring with your bosses and conferring with legislators and their staffs on some very complex programs, do take into account, please, the need of folks out there for a pay raise. And I'm speaking both with respect to the Inspector General's office, and by the way, I am acquainted with their work personally. I've known some of their staff over the years, and they do extraordinary work. But I'm speaking really to the whole workforce. And thank you for all you do and for your time.
Thank you.
Questions?